Hi. I suppose I ought to introduce myself just in case you've come across this video um, accidentally in a way. My name's Tracy. I've been a Christian for almost 39 years now. And 3 years ago, a friend of mine lent me a book by Mike Bickle called The Pleasures of Loving God. And that led me into a place of study of the Book of Song of Solomon, a book that I'd run away from for most of my Christian walk. And it absolutely revolutionized my life, and it changed me so much, and it gave so much to me that I want to be able to share that with others. So I've just been doing these little excerpts and going through very slowly the book of Song of Solomon and just sharing the things that blew my mind and made me feel so loved and accepted by God and brought me into such a place of intimacy that I never dreamed possible. That's what I want to share with you now. If this it really is the first time you've come across these little videos, there's another video on my channel which was the introduction to Song of Solomon, and it gives you an overview of the entire book and shows you kind of where we're going, talks about the symbolism and why I look at the symbolism. So if it's the first time, have a quick look at that as well. But for today, we're still in chapter 1, and today we're going to be looking at verses 10 and 11, which if you just took them out of context, you just, well, you might just flow over them like I did many times. I skipped them because they didn't mean anything to me. But let's have a read. Your cheeks are beautiful with earrings, your neck with strings of pearls. We will make you earrings of gold studded with silver. And this is the groom talking to the bride. And he tells her that she already has gifts, that her cheeks are beautiful with earrings and her neck with strings of jewels. So she's already coming to him with something. And we looked before where she said she was dark, she had the absence of light, she wasn't bringing anything to him of herself. But he says, you do have gifts, you already have things that you're wearing, and you're coming to me with these particular gifts, and you look beautiful in them. However, notice in verse 11, he says we, and I think this is one of the first allusions to the Trinity in the Song of Solomon. He says we will, and so he's talking about the Godhead coming to prepare something for the bride. And in my version of the NIV it says, we will make you earrings of gold studded with silver. Now the word earrings is actually a word, I think if I looked it up in the Strongs, it says it's a circlet, a single turn. It might be ornamented and it might be plaited. Well, you think of that, he's going to make, we've used the word earring, but it's a single turn. And what does that represent in so many places, and even outside of scripture, outside of the Bible? People use a circle to mean eternity, like a wedding band. A wedding ring is something that is a circle, and we use that and we use it to represent the fact that it's eternity. So I'm trying to get mine off. I can't get it off. And if I use this ring, you see, we use a ring to speak of eternity. And I believe Father is saying here, or the groom, I should say, is saying here that what I'm going to make for you is something that's going to last through all eternity. You know, the gifts and the skills that we have here on earth are only going to be used here, but the gifts that he gives us are something that is going to be eternal. It's going to last eternally. So the wonderful thing is, he says, we will make you earrings of gold. And gold so often represents glory, divinity, even royalty sometimes, but mainly glory and divinity and beauty and righteousness. So the groom is saying to his bride, you've already got some gifts, you've got some qualities that you want to use for me, and I have something for you. I'm going to give you something that is eternal, and that something is something of glory, something that leads to kingship. You know, we are heirs with Christ. We are heirs with him. So, and when we marry into that family, as the bride of Christ, we marry into that family, then we're taking on that kingship and we become royal. But he's going to make us something eternal, or he's giving, you know, something eternal that's made of glory, that speaks of our kingship, and it is studded with silver. And we've talked before about silver meaning redemption. So what a beautiful picture that what he gives us, this eternal thing that he gives us, has been studied or pierced with redemption. It is ours because Jesus paid that price. He was the one who redeemed us. His redemption is embedded in the gift that he's given to us. The fact that he has redeemed us, that he died for us, is through and through the gifts that he's given us. All the gifts, all the glory that we have, the things that he's provided for us, have all been studied, have all been pierced with his redemption. So everything we have comes from what he did for us, not from what we can do for him. And again, when he talks about the beautiful gifts that she already has, you know, her cheeks are already beautiful, she's already got earrings, and she's already got strings of jewels around her, she's coming to him. And he doesn't dismiss those things, but it reminds me of how we often bring our gifts and our things to God as a way of earning his love and earning the right to be a good spiritual person or a good child of God. And there's a phrase that we often use, that people often use, and I've heard a lot recently, is about being good enough, or as most of us say, not good enough. I don't feel good enough, or you don't think I'm good enough, or I just don't feel good enough. I'm not good enough for this. And that phrase just kept getting to me, and I felt like the Lord saying to me, what that word enough means there must be a standard that you've got for yourself. And you're saying, I'm not reaching that standard. I can't attain that standard. I am not good enough for that. And the thing is, if ever you were good enough, if ever you achieved that standard, that's the thing that you've achieved. That's something that's yours. And what does Scripture say in the New Testament? That all our righteousness is like filthy rags. All the things that we try to earn for ourselves is worth nothing. And anything we attain to become good enough is pointless. It's worthless, because the only thing that makes us valuable is the silver that's studded in the gold that he gives us. The fact that it's come from Jesus, it's come from his sacrifice for us and what he did for us. That's the only thing that matters. But the beautiful thing is he doesn't rubbish the things that she already has. He doesn't say, okay, you've got some nice earrings on, but they're not worth enough. Or you've got some nice jewels around your neck, but that's not good enough. I'm going to give you something better. He just says, you're beautiful. The things that you come to me with are beautiful. But what I give you is going to be eternal, and it's going to be based on redemption. It's going to be based on the act that I did when I died and paid for you and redeemed you back. And I think what a glorious lover to recognize that we're coming to him with our own gifts, thinking that we're earning his love, that we're good enough for him. And we don't need to do that, and we can't do that. We can't earn his love because it's all given freely. And he doesn't look down on us for that. He just says, okay, you look beautiful with those things, but I'm giving you something even more beautiful. So I just want you to think of those things. If ever you feel not good enough, that's fine. You don't need to, because he makes you good enough by the gifts that he gives you. And if ever you attain a certain standard, that's just like filthy rags. There's no point in trying to strive to attain to something, because then all the glory goes to you, and the glory should go to him. And that's why the things that we have, the gifts that we bring, they're pointless in our lives, because the glory needs to go to him. And when we recognize, as she said in verse 5, dark am I, yet lovely. That word dark meaning I am void of colour. I come to you with nothing, yet because I'm yours, I am lovely. And that's a place that, I mean, it's repeated so many times throughout this chapter about, it's not about us or what we can bring or who we are. It's about him and all the things that he's done. And that's what makes us beautiful. That's what makes us awesome and amazing and loved by God and cherished and precious. Not because we've managed to study so much of the Bible, or we spent this much time in prayer, or we've got a great voice, or we've given so much into charity, or given to the poor, or we clean the toilets in church even. There's nothing that we can come to God and say, I've earned your love and your affection. And that means that all of us are on an equal footing, because no one is going to do more to earn his affection, because his affection's free, it's not earned. And if you're someone who's never been able to achieve anything in your own eyes, then that's brilliant, because you don't need to. All you need to do is receive what he achieved. So he achieves, we receive. If you don't feel good enough, it doesn't matter, because in his eyes, what he gives you makes you good. He hit the standard, so you don't need to. Anyway, I hope that little look into these verses 10 and 11 has blessed you. Chapter 1 of the Book of Song of Solomon. And I'll catch you next time. Hope you're blessed. Stop trying, just be.